Call to order the Planning and Zoning Commissioner regular meeting for August 9th, 2023, beginning at 6:32 p.m. A quorum is present. For our regular agenda item, we will be removing agenda item number 21 due to the postponements that have happened over the last couple of months, and a new application has been filed, so we will not review agenda item number 21. Public comments. Public comments, non-agenda items. The white card comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda related topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Agenda item, public comments, yellow card comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda and agenda items combined for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes total per person on all items except for public hearings. Comments on public hearing items must be made when the item comes before the board, commission, committee, and not to exceed 2 minutes per person. No action or discussion may be taken by the board, commission, committee during public comments on non-agenda items. To address the board, commission, committee, please complete the white or yellow card and present it to the city staff designated prior to the meeting. For our public comments, I have Mr. Robert Bataille for the topic of my concerns. And so you will have 3 minutes.
And then I have 2 minutes for my agenda items.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And we will be starting timer with Mr. Pives.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's all try to remember to speak into our microphones tonight. My name's Robert Bataille. I have some interesting news. First off, let me mention that if people out there want to go to see the truth about what's happening in Manor, they should go to Facebook group Manor Community Coalition. That's the page I have. The really great news I have for you guys is that you are a commission. You're not a committee. The city has been trying to pretend that you're a committee ever since you've been here, probably 30 years. So I sent you guys some stuff about this. Section 1.05035 talks about the organization of your commission. It says that you shall hold an organizational meeting in February and then you elect a secretary. Mandy and Yuvia are not your secretary. One of you needs to step up and become the secretary. I think the new girl, we should give it to her since she's new. She hasn't been brainwashed. No, in other words, you set your agenda. You don't have to do Scott Dunlap's agenda. That's his way of keeping power over you. Here's a couple of examples. Remember not too long ago when he gave you guys like 50 or 60 items on one agenda item? And wants you to understand that in 5 minutes? That's when you send that back to him and you say, we're not going to do that. We're going to do that as a workshop. We're going to set a workshop next Saturday afternoon, and we're going to talk about some of these things that the city council should be doing, but they don't know how. There's a reason you are a semi-quasi-independent body. It's to do important things. You prepare the agenda. The secretary prepares the agenda. You can have special meetings for any purpose. This is item 105-0394. Special meetings for any purpose. When the city says, hey, we want to give $20 million to HEB and Butler Family, you say, I'm not sure we think about that the same way. In fact, Mr. Mayor, we're going to have a meeting this Saturday, and we're going to do it like a town hall, and we're going to get some input. And also, like on this comprehensive master plan, they've been trying to cram down our throats. You know full well there are lies in there. Why would any single one of you admit and put your name on a document that you know has lies? You know there's no such thing as Shadowglen open space. You know anybody can park any dang where they want to. You guys it's going to be more work for you, but it's going to be more rewarding. I'd like to see you guys each get $500 a month, by the way. Any one of you can make a motion. I move that we stop these ridiculous special meeting laws that I can only talk on agenda items for 2 minutes. That's utterly absurd. Utterly absurd.
Time's up.
That's 5 minutes or 3?
3.
Okay, so I have 2 minutes now. Okay, talking about agenda items. What?
Do you want to talk about the agenda items as they come up for the public hearing?
I would prefer, well, in the public hearing is different. I'm talking about agenda items now.
Okay,
Public hearing, I get 3 minutes on every item.
right.
Okay, good.
Okay, so you have your 2 minutes.
So I have 2 minutes to talk about the agenda items.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, of course, there is some overlap in here. One, let's talk about Okra. Okra has created this new type of zoning called OS parentheses parkland. There is no such thing in the codes. Have you guys ever read the codes? Now, I know that the attorney, her name is Audrey Guthrie. She did not read those. She hung up on me because I asked her a tough question. I said, why did you approve that motion that he wanted to do with parkland equals parkland? 2 words parkland is completely different than the 1 word parkland. There is no such thing as OS parkland. Now, in one of their Okra's things, they said they were going to pay the in lieu fees. I didn't find that on there. If they're paying in lieu fees, kind of the parkland aspect is irrelevant. But when they give you those documents that they don't even have parking to get back to the parkland, they call it. It's a 1/4 acre. Where are you going to put the parking? The parking, where's the parking for the trails going to go? You can't look at that little map and it doesn't teach you enough to make a learned opinion. You should send it back and say, we need to know where the roads in the subdivision are and how people get to the parking for the park trails. They think if it's a long, narrow, skinny thing that connects, that's all of a sudden that makes it a parkland. They want to claim 8 acres of that. They don't need to claim 1 word parkland because they're going to pay the in lieu fees, supposedly. Now, also, I don't know if you've been seeing the budget. We're fixing to borrow $300 million. We're going to borrow, I think it's $30 million to be a regional leader in wastewater management. We're going to be the regional sewage plant. I think we should call it the Wallace Harvey plant, since they're the mayors that got this going. It should be the Wallace Harvey sewage plant. And let's spend that $30 million so we can be a regional leader in sewage. That's what Maynard wants to be? Unreal. We have $300,000 for community stuff. They have spent $9,000 all year. They don't even know how to budget this stuff. They don't even know what department's in charge of it. Thank you. Sorry for talking so loud.
Thank you, Mr.
Feel the joy. Thank you.
Now we will move into our public hearing. Public hearing, agenda item number 1. Conduct a public hearing on a rezoning application for 5 lots on 0.23 acres, more or less, out of the south 40-foot of lots 6 through 10, block 1, AE Lanes addition, and being located at 707 Bastrop Street, Maynard, Texas, from single-family suburban SF1 to 2-family residential TF. And we have Mr. Robert Bataille speaking for the public hearing.
Thank you very much. My name is Robert Bataille. Mandy, can you bring up this little map thing here? It's in the packet. I've had an epiphany about these small lots over here. There's a really trendy thing happening in the housing world. I'm sorry, I thought there was one other one. Okay, can you go forward? I'm sorry. Back the way you were. There, right there. Okay, it looks like they've separated these apart. They were next to each other. My main thing about this is that this is a historic district running from creek to creek and railroad track to 290. This is nothing historic about this. Now, if you look at this map here, this is on one of the other agendas, but it's basically the same area. It's all these tiny little lots. That was the thing back in the day, these little houses. Well, that's the thing right now. Everybody knows about tiny homes. This should be a tiny home community. There's one over on Decker Lane. There's about 6 or 8 in Austin. They're fantastic, and we have historic designs these should be modeled after. That was in a Travis County historical survey back in, I believe it's 2007. That's what should go in here. We really don't want to turn these into big lots. Then they become ordinary and boring. This should be our tiny home community. This was probably the original slave area. Little tiny houses. but they can be trendy. So now some of these have been, gathered and grouped together. But I would like to propose that we don't really want to make this a two-family lot. We want to keep it small. And I'm glad to see at least they kind of separated the buildings. But there's nothing historic about this design. And we should really try to restrict all our designs in Old Manor to looking historic, not like ugly boxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Batai. We also have Ms. Catherine Chen, who will speak in support of agenda item number 1.
Yes.
And just for the record, you have 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Now the history of this lot, the total is a 5, very very tiny, roughly about 2,000 square foot. It's just not buildable. So what we plan to do is combine 5 times 2,000, roughly 10,000 square foot, to make it into a 2-family, basically duplex. Now each of the unit of those duplex, the ratio for the width, compare the width and depth, is we design in a way is golden ratio. So the house will looks very appealing to the neighbor, and we believe it's a value added to this neighborhood. Okay.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I had a question. Remind me, this is the one where you came up to talk with us before, and we asked you for like a better rendering of the design, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It was one single building, and we realized that was bulky and ugly. So, and our architect thinking very, very hard, and we divided into 2, and which is very attractive, modern looking.
Okay, and that's this. That's
Yeah.
the
If you
kind of updated.
there's actually it's a rendering. This is more like from bird eye view. Yeah, this one.
So in this, it looks like, are these attached? Front, like, is that a garage in the middle, or
Yeah,
what?
they attached through garage.
Okay, so they share a garage, or it's 2 garages?
In fact, 3 garages. 3 and 3 each side.
Oh, you mean like a 3-car garage?
Yes.
In each side.
Yeah, we can do a 2-car. Really doesn't matter. But long story
I
short
like
is
3 cars.
if you're looking from outside, it's a 1 building. Then you have a full garage, the covered garage, right?
Mhm.
4 or 6. Then there's another one.
Mhm.
And we design in a way we really don't want to make it too crowded, so to speak. So actually, each unit size is about 1,600 square foot. So that's in order to, of course, we could make it bigger, but that defeat the purpose of the golden ratio. We also want to see how make sure the building is very attractive. So you times width times length. So that only afford to roughly between 1,500 square foot to 1,600 square foot per unit.
Okay. Are they going to connect to each other, or is there going to be space in between them?
Oh, it's a duplex, so we have to connect it. Initially, we proposed disconnect, and the Scott proposed saying, let's make it connect, duplex. So I think in current zoning we are proposing is 2-family TF. And originally we thought is, I forgot, it's called TH, or some kind of a townhome, which allow 3 buildings or 2 separate buildings. And Scott is saying he's expert. He said based on the nature of that area, he said 2-family duplex is make more sense. So we listened to his recommendation.
So I have a question. You're saying that the back duplex, you're gonna be able to see it from the street. Is that correct? Will you be able to? Because the way I look at it right here, you're only gonna be able to see the front one.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be able to fit those cars driving in there like that in that small.
Yes. Okay. This is an excellent question, because next to on the left side, if you're just looking at that picture, Left side is 20 feet alley. It's a public alley there. So we're going to use that public alley, improve the alley, so we can drive through this lot and use some of the areas. Now, of course, the total area, the driving is on our lot, but then we go through, make a 90-degree turn. But when we want to back out, we will use some portion of the public alley to support the back out distance. So if you may, I go there. This one, up to this point, belongs to the top lot. Parking is here. So when you back out, this small portion is belongs to the public alley. You may.
Mandy, can you go to the sky view? No, that one. So where those trees are, that's where you're planning to put that drive. Is that correct? So right there. So will the people on the other side be able to use that drive, or is that your property?
So between here and here, that's 20 feet out.
Right.
So it's going to count.
hmm So the city could use it if needed to.
Oh, that is.
Right. Okay.
Has this been approved by like the fire department? Or
We haven't go that far yet. It's just a rezoning request.
This is just zoning. Fire department doesn't review zoning or concept or anything along those lines. It would be site plan, building plans, things along that.
and does so typically they want to have an access point to get there if something God forbid goes wrong or whatever. Are they able to get back there?
Yeah, they can throw the
Go through
public
the alley?
alley, 20 feet.
Okay.
What is your projected selling price for this duplex?
Well, we definitely, last time we came here, the house is really, market is really high. And now the house is really going down. So we really want to keep it very attractive for people staying downtown Manor. So of course, we're not going to price us out. We are lower than single family and make it more affordable. Again, as what I said, it's originally it's a 5-lot, 2,000 feet, 2,000 square feet. It's just not buildable, and it's just too crowded. From fire perspective, fire safety, that those tiny house may be a fire hazard. So we literally propose to have a 2-unit building on a 5 lots area.
So right now, you guys don't have a projected selling price.
No, we don't. Oh, we last time I think last time, if I memory is correct, we can pull out this area, downtown area is 400,000. So we definitely it's for 1,200 square feet. This one being built, people getting more bedroom, more modern looking, and more square foot, with the same price. But now, before I came here, I looked at Zillow. Number one, there's another. So the house here in downtown, the price drops. I think the last time I saw is a 350. So we just trying to make sure we're not priced us out of market, right? Again, so we are competed with older, so to speak, housing built in the 60s, 70s house. We're competing those and make this modern looking building. Number one, very attractive. Number two, if people paying the same price and getting bigger square footage, I'm sure they will go for the duplex. So one thing is for sure, we'll definitely, if everything's the same, right, same brand new house, definitely compared to a single house building on 1,500 square foot versus building on those duplex, our prices will definitely be less expensive, more affordable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Is there a motion for public hearing agenda item number 1?
I move to close the public hearing for agenda item number 1.
All right, second it.
It has been properly moved to close the public agenda for hearing, public agenda item number 1 by Commissioner Leonard and second by Vice Chair Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to agenda item number 2, conduct a public hearing on a rezoning application for 2 lots on 0.297 acres, more or less at 108 W. Boyce and 104 W. Boyce Street, Manor, Texas, from single family to downtown business. Mr. Burrell, would you like to give us some background information? 'Cause I believe this one has been on the agenda before.
Yes, pardon me, Sally. Yes, it's been on the agenda before, and previously it was requested to be denied because there was a single family property in between their first property and then 108. So what they did was they went ahead and bought the property that was in between those two to alleviate that concern and remove any single family residences from being in that area. Well, not in that area, but in that lot. They've also provided a conceptual layout per request of the commission.
I do want to recognize that we have, I apologize if I say the name wrong, but Junghoon Song is here. Are you applicant? Okay, is here that does not wish to speak, however, is available if there's any questions for the commissioners.
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So
Can you let him
yes,
approach?
yes.
And please state your name.
Hello.
Can you
your
state
name?
your name?
My name is Jungwon Son.
Okay, great. So I think if I'm trying to remember, you guys you were able to contact the people and you bought the other lot.
Right.
So now there's no homes around there, right?
Right.
Okay. Good.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. Cool. And then you're still wanting the same use as last time, like you're going to
Right.
build
Yeah.
a building for your employees up at the top and then your business down at the bottom.
Right.
Cool. Good.
Thank you.
Okay, that was all I have.
There any other questions for the applicant?
So go to along with my fellow commissioner. So this lot was not meant for the 2-story with the residents on the top and the bottom. This was across the street, correct? Because I know last time I think we were talking about the parking area.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
So are these 2 lots? Are we trying to do the same thing as you are across the street, or it's a shopping center or commercial on the bottom and residential on the top?
Yes. Right. Yeah.
What type of business are you looking to put, switching it from a single family to a downtown business?
Actually, honestly, I'm not sure about what kind of store, what kind of commercial it is yet, but I'm willing to actively accept it if you guys give me an opinion on what you need in this city.
So when you apply for the application to switch this from single family to downtown business,
Right.
did you have at least any three type businesses that you would like to bring to Manor, or even have surveyed or questioned for the community?
We didn't do the survey yet, but we'd like to do that.
What is your specialty?
My specialty
Yes.
is my specialty or about our
Well,
company's.
your specialty. What do you bring to Manor?
My specialty is develop the city, and we are trying to keep this city more attractive and keep attractive, and trying to think about what kind of store is needed in the city. So at first we'd like to change our zoning first, and then we're trying to we will actively accept others' opinions.
Would you like to give us the definition of the downtown business,
Downtown business.
Mr. Scott?
Let me help a little bit.
Yeah.
I've been working with his brother Yoongi Jun for about 4 or 5 months now, probably, on the 2 properties that they own downtown. And we're working on an incentive plan, incentive program. Also, they've completed the applications for incentives, and we're working on their plans. And of course, that all depended on the rezoning here. So, and the last 2 months have been unfortunate because we didn't have quorums. But they're working on these buildings, and they don't know the tenants yet because they going to rent them out, of course. But the commercial use is going to be, we're going to probably help. I'm a broker myself also, but we're going to help them rent these spaces. And they're going to be downtown business use. We're going to try to get shops. We're going to try to get retail. We're going to try to get service businesses that are going to be useful in the community. So much the same as we did with Eric Davis's building, and we're working on those right now. Also, when he gets that building up, we're going to try to bring the types of businesses that are useful to the community, whether it be restaurants and food establishments, and we need everything. I mean, we're all types of businesses that are needed downtown. We're going to try to work on. We have a list going, but I've been working on them on this project with them for about the last 4.5, 5 months, and we hope to bring it to fruition as soon as they can get it zoned, as soon as they can get it the construction going. So with your help, we'll further that process.
And for the record, can you state your name and job
Scott
title?
Jones, and I'm Economic Development Director for the city.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Scott, quick question. How many businesses so your business will be one of them, but it's a small business, right? And your employees will be living above there. And then how many other businesses besides that one will be fitting in each of the buildings?
I think I expect it to consist 2 to 3 business in there.
Per building, so that's
building,
like 6
correct.
total. Okay. And will there be housing above both of them?
Yes, right.
Okay. And how many units will be above?
It depends on the I don't know. We don't know exact number yet, because the number of the floors or buildings depends on how many cars we can put in. But we are expecting around 8 units in there.
And will it be 2-story or 3-story?
We'd like to make it 3 stories, but it depends on the.
They're still in the design phase right now, so we've been going back and forth on that as well. Both this building and the one on West Boyce. So as soon as they get the final design, they'll be coming to the city for permits and everything on that. After we still have, they haven't presented the final application yet because they're still in the final design stages. So they'll be coming to us with the application and then the final design for permitting.
And I have a question. I'm still curious to know what type of business you have. It was presented to us initially that it was a business and your employees specifically would be the tenants. So I'm still wanting to know what exactly is your business, at least, even though you'll bring the other type businesses.
They're developers.
So what are the employees that what we were speaking of that would be the tenants? Just employees in general of general businesses?
Yeah, he's going to be overseeing the buildings and trying to lease them up and overseeing their rentals. So they'll be in the property management business, overseeing what they're doing here. They'll be constructing the buildings and then they'll be overseeing the rentals.
Okay, thank you.
So, in one of these that I see, you're gonna use one of the lots as a building, and the other one you're trying to accommodate for the parking. Are we building that in there, Scott, for them to be able to have more parking area around there, or?
The final design is supposed to accommodate the parking, so we haven't seen the final design yet. So they're working on that with their architect. So it should, yeah.
One of the things, we postponed the first lady who spoke because we didn't have a good architectural, and so I think it's important before we start to rezone, but that we can get a visual idea. And she came back, with one this meeting, so maybe that's needed here too.
They know that. There's several ways they could do
Can
it.
you speak
They
in the
could-
mic? Sorry.
Yep, sorry. They know that, and there's several ways they could do it. They could park underneath and raise the building height, or they could, have less square footage and have more concrete to park on. So they've just been, playing with that model on the square footage of dirt that they have to build on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We also have Mr. Robert Bataille to speak on public hearing for agenda item number 2. And your time starts now.
My name's Robert Bataille. Thank you. It's good to be here. These people have no idea what the heck they're doing. Is this hard to figure out? This is a Korean land investment platform. They're worth $250 million. They couldn't care less what happens here. To justify this, they use the shopping center for Home Depot. They say, well, since we want growth there, we want it here. I'm embarrassed for Mr. Jones coming up here and still going. They still think this is a downtown. Well, that's what they used to call it. It's not a downtown nothing. This is not a downtown anything. This is a neighborhood. This is the best neighborhood. This is Old Manor. These people are so jealous of us because we have nice little houses, we have yards, and they want to cram everything in here. He calls them incentives. I call them giveaways. We gave $500,000 to Eric Davis to put in sewer pipes for his ugly box. We don't need to give these people money for their business. It's just a business, man. There's no shops going in there. You have a rendering. It shows, I think there's like 45 parking places there. That's what they want there. 45 parking places. Oh, I don't know what they're going to do. If you buy into that, I don't think you can. Seriously. And look yourself straight in the face. There's nothing historic about this. We should not be doing anything zoned downtown business in Old Manor. Nothing over 2 stories. Everything has to look historic. Our history is the best thing we have right now. North of 290, they don't have an image. We have an image. It's Old Manor. I pronounce it Manor. That's how he pronounced it. In the 1850s, you think Sam Houston called him Mr. Manor? I don't think so. We have the homestead right down the street here. This used to be the stagecoach route. We need to develop our history. We found a new cemetery, the McVeigh Cemetery. We just found it next to our cemetery. We have a very rich history. That's the coolest thing we've got going for us. Let's give up anything called downtown in Old Manor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion for agenda item number 2?
I make a motion that we close agenda item number 2.
Well, second.
It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 2 by Vice Chair Pies and by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Meyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Our next agenda item is agenda item number 3. Conduct a public hearing on a rezoning application for one lot on 0.132 acres, more or less, and being located at 209 North Lexington Street, Maynard, Texas, from single family suburban to neighborhood business. And Mr. Burrell, would you like to share some background information?
Yes. So the applicant wants to take this from SF1 to neighborhood business, which would be our most restrictive commercial zoning designation. They want to put a hair salon there. In terms of code, they wouldn't need any variances. It would be particularly just to add a business downtown that's easily accessible and closer to our downtown, which also falls in line with our comp plan.
Quick question. Is this moving? 'Cause there's like several hair salons already downtown. Is this a new one or is this moving of an existing one?
This would be a new one. They want to turn the residence into a hair salon.
If no questions by the commissioners, we'll start our public hearing. Mr. Robert Bataille.
Thank you very much. My name is Robert Bataille. I wanted to give a big hip hip hooray to this owner. I don't know if Mr. Chavez is here, but this is exactly what we want. We want neighborhood businesses there, and they are economically viable. This proves it right here. This gentleman's not going to try to do this if he doesn't think he can support it and run it. This doesn't have 50 parking places. What do they have? 5, 4, something like that, something reasonable. It's going to be something in scale with the neighborhood. It's not going to be a 3-story box. This is exactly what we want. I salute this owner and would appreciate that all of our businesses come in here and do neighborhood business. That's a fine and beautiful, wonderful zoning. People can make plenty of money on there. It can bring in tourists to shops, not offices. So, well done, Marcos. Thank you.
Thank you. And the applicant, if they are here, they did not sign a card to say that they were here, so I'm not sure. Any questions or motions for agenda item number 3?
I move that we close the public hearing on item number 3.
It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 3 by Commissioner Meyer and second by Commissioner Hartman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 4, conduct a public hearing on a preliminary plan unit PUD site plan for the Ochre Tract development. 331 lots on 113.4 acres, more or less, and being located at 14418 North FM 973, Maynard, Texas. And we do have Rachel Shanks. Well, let's go through some background first, and then I'll have Rachel Shanks to speak in support.
Yeah, so the Ochre Tract PUD is a mixed-use PUD development off 973. It'll have commercial at the entrance of the PUD, and then behind that will be residential units as well as parkland. There's roughly 9 acres of parkland, 8.8 specifically, with an excess of 3.88 acres over what's required for them by the agreement. There'll be 3 parks, a 2 to 5-year-old park, 5 to 12-year-old park, and then 10,000 square foot dog park, as well as a 20 by 30 foot pavilion, a basketball court, and then a 20 stall parking lot. So a lot of parkland, which, by the way, is not in the floodplain and detention area, though they will be retaining those spaces to include trails that will connect to Shadow Glen and all throughout the subdivision. I mean, outside of that, any other questions would probably be best directed for our lovely applicant or representative. Ms. Rachel, my apologies.
So we'll start our public hearing with Rachel Shanks. And you have the 2 minutes.
Okay. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Rachel Shanks. I'm the developer for the Okra Track, and I put together just a presentation to kind of cover all of the aspects of the development.
Can you please speak into the mic? I'm
Sorry, it's a little low. Oh, there. Okay. Is it just the one? Oh. Okay, you can go to the. I guess I can't click it, so. So, next slide. Okra is 113 acres. It was brought into the city limits quite a few years ago as C2. We are proposing a mixed-use development with commercial and residential. This falls within the comprehensive plan of the city of Manor, where there will be commercial along FM 973 and then residential as you head in towards the creek. These are the recent developments that you guys have approved: Monarch Ranch to the north, New Haven, and again, Okra is kind of designed to be cohesive with Shadow Glen and Monarch Ranch along FM 973. Our internal roadway improvements, we're extending the collector road, Silent Falls Parkway from Shadow Glen. This will run through Okra, connect to Monarch, run through Monarch, and then actually go up to New Haven. I also upsized our entrance collector road, which we weren't required to, but I just wanted a wider entrance for the neighborhood off of FM 973. Our external roadway improvements, I've been working with Travis County, TxDOT, and the city of Manor. Instead of going the pro rata route, which is a percentage to a bunch of different roadway improvements, I've been working on mitigation to actually improve the infrastructure in this area that Okra would be paying full 100% of. This includes extending the center lane that currently ends at Tenahara and bringing it down North Suncrest Loop. And so that center lane would go all the way down, and then we'll also have a right turn lane into Okra. Along the front, you see we have about 4 acres of commercial. Unfortunately, we do not own the rest of the frontage on FM 973. We did try to buy it multiple times, and I met with the homeowner out there, and unfortunately, they just weren't interested in selling. And so because we don't own all the frontage, that's why the commercial kind of ends at that collector road. Our residential is SF2. It's a mixture of 50s and 60s with the traditional lot depth within the Manor Code of 120 feet. Right now, we're sitting at about 309 units. For our parkland internal, I kind of have it broken out to 2 sections. As you can see, we have parkland is not part of the detention. We will have about 8.8 acres. I wanted it to be contiguous with Monarch Ranch's public parkland so that residents could come outside of Monarch and Okra, be able to park, utilize the amenities in Okra, hop on the trails, go up to Monarch and utilize their amenities. We're trying to create a parkland that's beneficial not only for the residents of Okra, but for the community of City of Manor.
All right, that's your time.
Okay.
There are any questions for the developer?
Yes, I do. On the parkland shown on the upper left corner of the property, what kind of access will there be to that? Particularly, will there be street frontage for that?
Yes. So you're talking about the one, it's like, yeah, that 1.5 acres. So the bend of the road goes right there, and so people would be able to park on the street, and then they could also get to that parkland through the trail system.
Okay, the upper at the top of the
Yeah, the upper left.
page there. That square looking parcel, parkland, will have street frontage?
Yes. Okra will have the regional wastewater infrastructure on its site. So actually the easement for the wastewater infrastructure to service the rest of it's right there as well. And so that's why there's no lots. It's just road frontage.
Do you know how much road frontage it would have?
I can get the calculation for you, but it's a bend in the road, so there's plenty of parking.
So at least say a lot width?
More than a lot width. Yeah. Because it's the full parkland plus a little additional. There's actually a little existing wetland pond, and so it curves into the road. So it's well more than a lot width, because that's typically 50 or 60 feet.
So the difference between the PUD, it allows 325, but you're at single family lots, but you're asking for 331.
We put in an amount because I've done preliminary engineering about detentions, and so I have an idea of what the lot count will be. I doubt it'll go up from 309, but I hate to limit if it does end up changing slightly, just based off of when we start really diving into engineering. Sometimes where you want to put lots you can, and so you have to rework roads, and so I don't want to be right on the cusp of not being able to change my lot count if it needs to change.
So what would be the impact if you were held to the 325 single lots?
It wouldn't change it at all, because right now I'm sitting at 309. And so our parkland is calculated off of the 325. So right now I'm under that. I'm 14 units under.
I have a quick question. So this collector road that you have, is that new? Like that's a brand new road?
Silent Falls Parkway or the entrance?
Anderson, I guess is what it's called.
The one that goes north to south, or?
Yeah, the one that's like parallel with 973.
So it's actually a collector road in or in Shadow Glen. It's new to the comprehensive plan, a thoroughfare plan of having the collector road connect all the way through. The only one that was planned at the time was the one on New Haven, but we've added it to be cohesive because it'll probably be an alternative for the residents to not have to drive on FM 973.
That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's so basically if there was traffic in the morning or something,
Yeah.
those people that lived in that community could take an alternate route
Yes.
to 290.
Yes, and then not be driving by a bunch of people's driveways and dealing with all of that, because it'll be collector roads with the fenced or stone and the landscaping, just like you see on the other ones. So
Okay. And because you don't own the right of way, you actually won't have a road that dumps out onto 973.
So there's actually a old road there called Old Maynard Taylor Road that dead ends, and that is the address for Okra. So we connect to FM 973. It's just through that road.
Okay. So you will have something that you
Yes.
can get on
And
973
that's
as well.
why I wanted the center turn lane to be updated, and then the right hand turn lane, because I didn't want, I think like Compass down below has like barriers and people can't turn in, and it's caused a whole issue. So I wanted the access to make sense. We won't ever have a traffic light there. TxDOT has already decided where their traffic lights are going to go. So if people were having a difficult time, they'd have to go up to Monarch and turn in, or go down to Shadow Glen.
So what you're saying is you're coming home after work, you won't be able to turn left into your subdivision. Is that correct?
You can. There'll be a center turn lane. It's just if traffic is, bad enough, which I've been out here when traffic is rough. You can take the alternative of just turning into Shadow Glen, hitting Silent Falls and getting up, or just going past it and getting into Monarch Ranch. They have rules about how close traffic lights can be, so you're not causing undue, more traffic and delayed traffic. And if we had been able to buy the frontage, we might have could have aligned it with Suncrest and maybe have gotten a traffic light, but that was still debatable on whether or not they'd give us one.
Yeah. And so with the center turn lane and the old Maynard Taylor, you have a couple family homes that are in front of that or on the other side of that
So
road.
it's like you turn in on Old Maynard Taylor Road and then the road goes down and the houses are down.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay.
Is there any particular reason why you picked the name?
Okra.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dalton Wallace has owned this track for quite a while, and he's he's the developer. He planted okra there a few years ago and just loved going out there and picking okra. And so when we were discussing names, he was like, I want it to be named Okra. And I was like, okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
We also have one additional public hearing, Mr. Robert Bataille.
My name's Robert Bataille. Thank you. This is a property I wanted for our new downtown, by the way. This is what I thought would be a great place for our new downtown. Mr. Dalton didn't want to do that. He wants to do a regular old semi-boring subdivision. Michael, you need to understand that parkland, one word, is different than two words, parkland. And when you saw it up here saying parkland, I could politely say BS, or I could say it's a complete and utter lie. Parkland is four things. It's open space, floodplain, wildlife preserve, and then the two words, parkland. When you think of a park, you're thinking about one word, parkland. It's not a water retention pond. It's not floodplain. It's something you can put a tennis court, basketball court. That's called one word, parkland. You guys in this city, you need to start understanding that. And Scott Dunlap, it starts with him. He's been ruining this city for like 9 years. This area on the left is floodplain. That area in the middle is just a trail. It's not wide enough to put anything there. It's not parkland. It's not OS in parentheses parkland. There's no such thing as OS parkland. There's also no such thing as park acreage. When she says there's 8.8 acres of park acreage, that's total BS. There's only one thing that has to do with parkland fees. Those are in lieu fees, and that's an area where you can put a sports amenity. Yes, you can put a disc golf course into the floodplain at Timberman Park if you had half a brain, and we offered to give you one free for a year and a half ago. What are they going to put here in this parkland? It's just a little sidewalk. Where's the parking places? At least we're starting to see. No, we don't even see. You think they don't have 10 different versions of the roads going through there and the subdivisions and all the houses? They've got 50 of them. We want to know where's the road to take us back, and we're looking at the bottom one now. Where's the road that takes us back to that little park, little nub of nothing back there they want to call half an acre? They don't get by calling it a public park because it's less than 5 acres.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to add that due to this being not heard to the lack of quorum for the last two meetings, this was already sent to council and they approved on their first reading. So they're waiting for your recommendation.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? What action was taken from city council?
City council did approve it on their first reading.
And just for clarification, they approved the public hearing or they approved the PUD?
They approved the first reading.
The first reading, okay.
And also, we are required by law to approve these. Like, this is non-discretionary item for us as well. Is that correct?
And that will take place at agenda item number 14 once we get down to the action.
Okay, cool.
Is there a motion for agenda item number 4?
I move that we close the public hearing, excuse me, on item number 4.
I'll second.
Who second? I'm sorry. Okay. It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 4 by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Leonard. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 5, conduct a public hearing on a planned unit development amendment for Shadow Glen PUD and being located at the intersections of Lexington Street and US Highway 290, as well as Shadow Glen Boulevard and US Highway 290, Maynard, Texas.
So to give brief background on this is simply updating the PUD to reflect what's currently existing based off several DA amendments. That's really all it is. It doesn't affect the actual subdivision because that's in our ETJ. This is purely updating the map to reflect what's currently in action with the DA.
And it looks like we have several folks just present but do not wish to speak. Dennis Young, Catherine, sorry if I can't read the last name, Hickory? Nicely? You do not wish to speak, correct?
If you have any questions.
Are you an applicant or?
I represent the applicant.
Okay. Well, let me have Cindy Lieber to speak in opposition.
Thank you. My name is Cindy Lieber, and I live in Shadow Glen. And the traffic on Lexington and 290 is horrible. It needs improvement. And so if you add a multi-unit, which you're saying it's already there, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand. Is it planned to have a multi-unit there already? Why is that?
We won't take any questions until after you speak. We'll discuss it, but no questions.
Well, I have a lot of questions. My question is do we need this housing, multi-unit housing on 290 in Lexington? And has there been a traffic study of Lexington and 290? It doesn't make sense to me to add more traffic when people are waiting 2 and 3 stoplights to get onto the highway to even go close to where they're working. And then it's a toll road. So I'm not from Texas. I'm from Kansas. And the roads are much different there. So can somebody speak to that, or is the multi-unit already done deal?
This is a public hearing, so we just take your comments on it, and we do not take any actions during the public hearing.
Okay, that's fine, but I don't understand your comment, Michael, about it's just a formality to make the chart look the way it already has been designed or something. It didn't make sense to me. I'm here to speak against adding more housing at 290 and Lexington.
Your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Was there any questions or any clarification needed on this agenda item from the commissioners?
So, I mean, I'm gonna ask almost the same question. So, are we just a reading and we're approving what's already here, or is there something that I'm missing that it's not here, Michael?
This is our sorry, I'm speaking too loudly. This is already what exists. The DA over the years has been amended from what it initially was. This PUD amendment is simply a reflection of what exists. And I think Audrey would be better equipped to answer that in a succinct way.
Please state your name.
My name is Audrey Guthrie from the City Attorney's Office. Yeah, so everything that we're reflecting here that's going to be in this, it already exists. This is already developed. This has been part of a PUD for a long time. So what we're doing here is amending the zoning on the, not even the residential areas, just on the commercial areas, the golf course and some open space to reflect what has already been done. There was some confusion regarding which plan it was put under. It is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan. It is consistent with the through the 2018 plan. It's just, we are kind of fixing something that's already been done. But again, this does not add any new residential. This doesn't affect any of the residential. This doesn't functionally change the use of the land. It is basically a technicality, so we can say, you know what, we have consistency across all areas of law.
It appears to me that what she was referring to was the W13B multifamily residential. To my knowledge, that doesn't exist currently, but that's the way it's zoned in the PUD.
In the plan, yeah. So we are not rezoning any current residential. We are just putting the zoning consistent with what the PUD already reflects and has already been approved. So it's already been approved by city council and everybody. Any further questions? Okay.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right.
I have one question. Sorry.
Yeah.
In this diagram
Mhm.
here,
Here, let me grab. Oh, is it up here? Okay.
yeah,
I can grab my
it is.
packet if I need to.
There is residential in here in the area that's highlighted.
Okay, it's my understanding that all of the residential is in the ETJ.
Okay.
And so we are obviously not rezoning the ETJ. So Machado Glen does have residential. It's just not the subject of this change that we're talking about today. Today is the commercial and the golf course and the park.
Okay.
Or the green space, I think it's.
Okay.
I know there was a lot of confusion. We had to send out notices, and I think that created a lot of confusion for people about whether or not we were changing anything in relation to their homes. But we're not.
So my question is, can the city send something out explaining what we were just explained to, so that our residents have the understanding of this does not pertain to them? Because we have a lot of upset people because of the way the letter reads, and we're hearing different now. Is that correct?
Legally speaking, absolutely. I can't direct the city to do anything in particular, but if your question is, can they legally draft a notice and send it out to help people understand? Absolutely.
And for those that may be not aware, that myself and Commissioner Meyer both represent this area, living in Shadow Glen. And I know that, at least for myself, I did receive another notice outside of the city. So that may also added in some of the confusion with the discussion.
I can absolutely understand why it's confusing. It is not typically the order things are done in. We're just correcting something that was done by city council before.
So how was this missed? Do we know from the city standpoint that a PUD was developed but was not followed?
I would have to go back and get my notes, but my understanding it was passed under. Oh, you can. Awesome.
State your name, please.
I'm Catherine Nicely, Metcalf, Wolf, Stewart, and Williams, representing the applicant. And trust me, it took me a while to understand this because this was before my time as well. So this development came with a PUD and a development agreement and was passed in 1998. And the years went by. The amendments that happened were amended for the development agreement, which is the written portion that you had. But the PUD was never amended throughout the process. It was missed because of legislation and the new outreach and neighborhood posting that you have to do. I don't know if you've been following that based on the lawsuit that Austin had. Now we have to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. And so this PUD had to catch up with the other amendments. And that's why it's coming forward, because the staff recommended us to notice everybody inside the PUD and outside in the radius. So that's why it's so confusing. And everybody had to get notice. And it's also part of the new legislation on how you need to notice and who needs to get noticed. And so that's what the confusion is. I don't know how many amendments happened of the development agreement throughout the years. Maybe staff can show you guys that, but really this is the graphic that pretty much is updated. And it has already the entitlements. So the lady that was talking about MF, the multifamily, it's been planned there for many years. It hasn't been developed, but it's already has its entitlements at the time. Thank you.
Is there a motion for agenda item number 5?
I move to close the public hearing for agenda item number 5.
I second it.
It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 5 by Commissioner Leonard, second by Commissioner Vice Pice. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 6. Conduct a public hearing on a short form final plot for one lot on 0.23 acres, more or less, and being located at 707 Bastrop Street, Manor, Texas, with variances to allow for 40-foot lot width, 20 feet from setback, 5 feet side setbacks, and 10 feet rear setback, and a depth to width ratio of 6.25 to 1 ratio. And I believe we have also had this as agenda item previous. So would you like to share some background, Mr. Burrell?
Yes, this is in complement to the zoning item for 707 Bastrop. The short form plat and variance is essentially what will allow this property to be developed as described. Because the lot is so thin but long, these variances are necessary in order for the property to be developed. Without them, it's essentially undevelopable. And it does meet the standards necessary to request a variance, which are listed on the summary if you would like to read through them. And if the applicant would like to, actually, public hearing, never mind.
Yes, we do have the applicant that has signed up, Ms. Catherine Chen, that would like to speak in support.
Hey,
Your
again.
time starts now.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for your time. This is actually, as I said before, I don't want to repeat myself. It's in the number 1 item. It's a combination of 5 lots. Each lot's dimension is 40 by 50. So each lot is about 2,000. So once we combine the 5 lots together, make a 10,000 square foot lot, then it looks very long and narrow. So it end up a 6.25 ratio. So we designed anyway. So I'm just come here to answer your questions. How come that lot is that not narrow? So I'm give some background here.
Mr. Burrell, so the lots actually, we're looking at 5 lots, but they go back towards, I guess it would be Riata Ford, basically. Is that is that why it's 5 lots that way? Because I know that skinny little thing is now 5 lots, is it?
Apologies. To my understanding, the back portion of those lots were sold off separately from the actual lots. That's why they're that size.
Can we look at page 286 of the agenda? Yes.
I think when I submit it, there's a survey. I don't.
By creating this lot, Michael, does that not create 5 lots that are no longer developable because they are now 50 by 75 lots now instead of 50 by 115 feet?
I think the purpose of the plat is to combine them so that it's.
But as I said, we're combining just the back portions of those 5 lots into one lot. But by virtue of doing that, we now have 5 lots that are no longer meeting code to be developed individually.
These 5 smaller portions are already separate from the longer portions in front of them. That's why they're being platted into one lot with a variance, because they're that small on their own already.
But does that not create a problem for the owner of those 5 lots?
They're already separate currently.
Are there already structures on lots 6 through 10?
No. It's an empty lot. And that division occurred prior to 1958.
I believe there's a structure on 10.
Do you mind if I go there? Structure like the grandfather, the house was built in 18,000, sits somewhere here. So from this corner to this corner, everything here is all empty.
I believe on the satellite it shows on the corner of West Lane and I believe that is at Lexington there. There's a house that faces to the right, but the other 4 lots, I believe, are empty.
This one
He's talking about lot 10.
Maybe, could be. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, so sorry. Could be in the 9, could be in the 10, yes. So in this, the top, the north side of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I'm talking about a long time ago. Long time ago, we have a standard 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a, 50 times 120. But at some point prior to 1958, the owner sold or whatever to carve out the south 40 feet to one owner. I'm sorry. And which leave north of 75 feet to another owner. So yes, you are right. There's an abandoned shed sitting on the lot 10, the north side of lot 10.
But the 5 remaining lots have not been combined into a single platted lot.
They listed as one property in the Travis County property record, but in the plat, I believe they still indicated as 5 lots, same as the situation we are currently running. Even though in the Travis property record, this is considered as one parcel, one property, but still on the book consider 5 lots. Did I answer your question?
Yes, it just seems that we're fixing one problem, but creating 5 new ones.
For either for the north side or for the south side, the current configuration is not buildable. So I think, do you have any ideas? We are all ears for to make buildable, if that makes sense. Because right now, both lots are in the dead, just cannot be developed, right? So if in thinking of our neighbor, they can do the same thing as we do. They combine all those 5 lots into the one parcel. So either right now it's both dead or doing what we are doing, both are alive.
Thank you. Good point.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no one else signed up for agenda item number 6.
I make a motion to close agenda item number 6.
I'll second.
It has been properly moved to close the public hearing for agenda item number 6 by Vice Chair Pies and second by Commissioner Meyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 7, conduct a public hearing on a subdivision short form final plot for the Las Entradas North subdivision, 2 lots on 0.769 acres, more or less, and located at 13301 East US Highway 290, Manor, Texas, and being filled with a variance from Manor Code of Ordinance, Chapter 10, Exhibit A, Article 3, Section 4, 5, 6, and 7, relating to lot reshape.
So this property is just at the northeast corner of 290 and Greg Manor. They're requesting the variance because there's a waterline easement on the eastern property boundary, which is causing the irregular lot shape, as you can see from the exhibit.
I have a question for Pauline.
Pauline Gray with GBA, we're the city engineer.
My question is regarding, so this is the change for the setback for the commercial site?
I believe it's just for the lots, not a typical shape as required by city ordinance. I don't recall anything. Yeah, when we reviewed it, basically we called out that it wasn't correctly shaped, and that's why the variance is required.
So what's the existing shape now?
It's basically if you take out the water line in the middle, it's like the big like polygon. So they're just trying to split that one lot into two smaller lots. And so the second lot, I can't read what number it is. The one on the eastern side is irregular shaped. And so they need the variances because they want to put something on there. And in order for them to be able to put something on there, they need the variance for the lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And there were no one, again, that signed up for agenda item number 7.
I move that we close the public hearing on item 7.
Second.
It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 7 for the public hearing by Commissioner Myers, second by Commissioner Hartman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 8, conduct a public hearing on a subdivision short form final plot for the Manor ISD Senior High School, 3 lots on 69.316 acres, more or less, and being located at 14832 North FM 973, Manor, Texas.
So to provide background for this, it was previously before the commission last year in September, but there was an issue with how the roadway was shown and the number of lots listed. So the plat has been updated and re-reviewed by the engineers to accurately depict the right-of-way dedication and the 3 lots created. The road is part of the thoroughfare plan. It extends a road from Anderson Lane to Greg Lane, and it's planned to be constructed by the Mustang Valley and New Haven subdivisions. Additional road will be needed for adjacent property owners that are not a part of the plat.
Is this the school that's on 973?
Yes.
So since the commissioners had already previously approved this in September of last year, I'm surprised to see that we have an issue that come back before us for the roadway. Do you know some history on how the error was found almost a year later?
I think that's a question that Pauline can answer best.
Pauline Gray with GBA, city engineer. What happened was when this plat first was approved, the developments out there off of Greg Lane, Monarch, New Haven, none of those were planned. So there was no issue about extending the road, so the city didn't need the right of way. But once they came in and then the thoroughfare plan was updated and it showed the road cutting through, then the city requested that Manor ISD dedicate some additional right of way so we can have that road extension because it will be built by those 2 developers that Michael mentioned. So that's why it wasn't caught. And so basically they had to adjust their lots because you can't have right of way cut through and have that the same lot. So that's why it created like a smaller 3rd lot. And so that's why it wasn't caught because, stuff is moving so fast up in that area that it was just something. And luckily this school was able to make the change that the city needed.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We also do have a public hearing with Mr. Robert Bataille would like to speak on this item.
My name's Robert Bataille. Thank you. Good to speak again. Um, my main thing is kind of involves some bigger issues, but also this one here too. That you guys can make motions on just about anything you want to, and you can vote on them. They don't need to be in this agenda per se. I think you need to build a mechanism to where you get this a week earlier so you can add things or subtract them to your agenda based on discussions with your secretary. My thought about this is simple. This is a project for Manor ISD. There are going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars that come into play here. They're going to be taking out hundreds of trees. There's going to be an agenda item. How much money is Manor ISD going to pay to take out all those trees and for us to replant them? The mayor works for Manor ISD. He needs to recuse himself on every single thing that has anything to do with Manor ISD. He needs to not be a vote on there. I think that's something that you should remind him. One of you should make a motion to not accept any agenda items that have been voted on that the mayor has voted on there. It's an obvious conflict of interest. He gave $60,000 to Manor ISD for library stuff instead of giving that to our library. We have a library over here. I know it's slightly off topic, but that shows why there's a conflict of interest. That $60,000 should have gone to the Manor library, not to Manor ISD. He should recuse himself on anything having to do with any of these school issues, because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars coming into play here. Thank you.
Any questions or a motion for agenda item number 8?
Move to close the public hearing for agenda item number 8.
I second it.
It has been properly moved by Commissioner Chavis and second by Commissioner Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the motion was to close agenda item number 8 for clarification. Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 9, conduct a public hearing on a specific use permit for a medical clinic located at the southwest corner of US Highway 290 in Greg Manor Road, Manor, Texas.
To provide some background on this, this property is zoned C1 light commercial, which permits office and medical uses with the approval of a specific use permit. The proposed user wants to put a medical clinic that offers 24-hour emergency care and is also partnered with Travis County EMS to include a facility for their use. The site will be around 10,840 square feet of medical clinic space, 990 square feet of EMS station, and 60 parking spaces. Access is proposed to be taken from existing roadways of Greg Manor and Threshold Lane, but no driveways on 290 will be proposed, though Threshold Lane is directly attached to 290, so it won't be much of an issue.
And you said this will be 24-hour emergency care, pretty much like a minor emergency 24-hour care kind of thing.
Yeah.
Will it be a hospital that can do like more surgeries and stuff? You know, obviously we have Fast Med here that is like a clinic kind of thing.
So the scope of it won't be outrageously large because it's only a 10,000 square foot unit, but it will offer emergency services within its scope of use, though I don't know exactly what that is. This is just a specific use permit.
And then can you also clarify that this will also be used as a EMS station?
So Travis County, like ambulances, things along those lines. Emergency medical services. So say somebody has to be rushed in to stop bleeding or there's an accident, things along those lines.
I'm not familiar with the egress requirements for ambulance services, but do we have to have one at that area for them to be staged there, like for the fire and medical?
Pauline, I'm not certain.
No. Okay.
You said it will be 24 hours, though.
Yes, that is what is proposed.
And has there been any site plans submitted?
Not yet, but they do have or there should be the graphic that essentially dictates their idea of what it'll look like, including parking where the building will be let out, minor landscaping.
Are they going to do any roadway improvements or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of, with the Greg Manor extension being brand new and a separate project, as well as Threshold Lane being a relatively newer road.
I move that we close the public hearing on item number 9.
I second it.
It has been properly moved to close agenda item number 9 by Commissioner Meyer and second by Vice Chair Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the Planning and Zoning Commission and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless requested by the chairperson or a commission member, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Just to reflect from the beginning of the meeting that agenda item number 21 was removed as part of our consent and regular agenda. For consent agenda number 10, consideration, discussion, and possible action to approve the P&Z Commission minutes for May 10th, 2023 P&Z Commission regular session, June 14th, 2023 P&Z Commissioner regular session, which we did not have a quorum present, July 12th, 2023 Commission regular session, which I believe we also did not have a quorum present.
Were there any non-discretionary items from July that went through?
I don't believe so.
I know there were several in June.
That's listed here. I was just curious if there was any in July too.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda item number 10 for the minutes of May 10, July 14, and July 12, 2023.
I second.
It has been properly moved to approve the agenda items for Approve the meeting minutes for agenda item number 10 for May, June, and July by Commissioner Meyer and second by Commissioner Vice Chair Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to our regular agenda item number 11, consideration, discussion, and possible action on rezoning application for 5 lots on .23 more or less out of the south 40-foot of lots 6 through 10, block 1, AE lanes, addition and being located at 707 Bastrop Street, Maynard, Texas, from single family suburban to 2-family residential. And just a reminder to the commissioners, we do have the applicant present if there are any additional questions that came up. As well as the staff study recommendation of approving the rezoning.
So, Mr. Burrell, on those corner lots that are at West Lane Avenue and Bastrop Street, so do those property, if they were ever to be sold or whatever, do they know that their property is that short already? Because I mean, I'm like Commissioner Meyer. They shortened.
I do not have that knowledge as to whether or not the owners would know. Though they were notified of the rezoning for the property, I don't know if they themselves would have that knowledge.
And just for clarification, there are this agenda addresses for 2 agenda items. This one just refers to the rezoning
Yes.
from the single family to the 2 residential.
I would say I have a comment. I appreciate the renderings. I think they look really good. It helps a lot to visualize. My sticking point where I'm having a hard time is 20 feet of an alleyway is not, I don't think, sufficient enough to be able to, if there's something that goes wrong back there, it's not enough access way. You know, a fire truck is 20 feet long. So it would be really hard to get access back in the back because of the way it's designed. And I also agree with what Commissioner Meyer said that, you know, obviously you can't help that. That happened before your time. Those lots were split like that. So it's not you can't really do anything about that. But
Yes, sir. Do you have a direct question?
I don't. Yeah.
I just want to add.
I'm sorry, we're not taking questions. Or we're not taking comments, but if there was a question, we would bring you back up. So apologize.
If I may, when you say a fire truck is 20 feet long, you're not referencing the width of the truck, correct?
Like the length from front to back.
That's much longer than 20 feet.
But I think what we're looking at is you're trying to fit a fire truck in that space. That's awfully tight.
Well, just to bring us back on topic, this
right.
is just for the single family to 2-family residential.
I'm sympathetic on this situation that is here. On the other hand, I'm concerned about the precedent set for such a narrow lot, and I agree also with the accessibility to the rear portion of the property. Again, I'm sympathetic to the situation. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to deny approval of item number 11.
I second it.
It has been properly moved to deny taking any action on rezoning of agenda item number 11 by Commissioner Meyer and second by Vice Chair Pies. All in favor?
I think it's actually a denial, not a denial to take action. Is that right? Yeah. It's a motion to deny.
A motion to deny possible. Motion to deny rezoning for the application for agenda item number 11 by Commissioner Meyer and second by Commissioner Vice Chair Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Agenda item number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a rezoning application for 2 lots on .297 more or less at 108 West Boyce and 104 West Boyce Street, Manor, Texas, from single family to downtown business. And just a reminder, we do have the applicant present.
I think renderings would be helpful for us to see from you as well. So with that, I would like to propose that we postpone this until we can get some better renderings from the applicant.
Postponed until when?
Until the next, or when do you think you can have some kind of more visual idea?
What are y'all wanting exactly from them? Because
We have a motion on the floor, so
Yep.
we have to finish this motion first.
okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
So what is, can you repeat what the motion is?
Yeah. I move that we postpone this agenda item until the next meeting to give the applicant time to provide a visual that shows exactly how many parking spaces there's going to be, a view of, is it going to be 2 stories or 3, some kind of visual so that we can see a little bit more detailed understanding of what these 2 lots are going to look like.
So we have a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
So it's been properly moved to make a motion to postpone agenda item number 12 to our next meeting with renderings to show some parking views in the structure. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
So let the record reflect that the vote is 5-1 with opposed by Commissioner Meyer.
Could I say something? I
Yeah.
just want to communicate, since we have a communication issue, language barriers and all that stuff, so I can communicate correctly to the principals. So you want a site plan basically and artist renderings of what the building is going to look like on the site to come back, because one of the principals, the older brother, has flown here twice the last 2 meetings and has shown up and had to fly back to California because we didn't have a quorum. And I was here both those meetings. So I just wanted to make sure that we communicate effectively so that they can come back the next time. That'll be the 4th meeting that they've shown up to try to get this rezoning passed. And we're trying to accommodate development in the city of Manor. And so I'm trying to get the message out. My job to get the message out that we're open for development in Manor. So you understand the issues that I'm trying to communicate that, but then we're having these kind of issues in getting that done. So it's a little bit frustrating on my end. So I apologize. But okay, so I'm going to communicate that you want drawings, and we're going to have renderings, and we're going to have a site plan on this particular lot before they come back for the rezoning. So I'll communicate that in the morning. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we can just get it via email. They don't need to like fly back to, you know what I mean? Like if that's, I understand what you're saying, but yeah,
Okay.
we could just get it via email. Like I think that's fine.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 13. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a rezoning application for one lot on 0.132 acres, more or less, and being located at 209 North Lexington Street, Manor, Texas, from single family to neighborhood business. The applicant and owner is not present. However, just a reminder, this was based off the turning a single family home to a beauty salon.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 13.
Second.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 13 by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Hartman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 14, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a preliminary planned unit development site plan for the Ochre Track development, 331 lots on 113.4 acres, more or less, and being located at 14418 North FM 973, Manor, Texas. Just as a reminder that we do have the developer here, a representation from the developer, and that this was already approved to the city by the city council due to the P&Z non-quorum.
I had a question for the representative. Maybe.
So I believe Rachel Shanks, can you please address the?
The dog park,
Yes.
is it going to be public dog park or is it just private for the?
All of our amenities are public. So yes.
Okay, great. That was it. That was all.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve agenda item number 14.
I second it.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 14 by Commissioner Leonard, second by Commissioner Pies. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item 15, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a planned unit development amendment for Shadow Glen PUD and being located at the intersections of Lexington Street and US Highway 290, as well as Shadow Glen Boulevard and US Highway 290, Manor, Texas. And just a reminder, we did have a representation for the applicant here.
If I may, this is already in effect, so there wouldn't be much thought necessary to give to it.
If there's any issue if we were not to approve, how
Yes.
would that impact the?
Hi, Audrey Guthrie from the City Attorney's Office. So honestly, at this stage, not approving it is not going to change what exists, but it's going to complicate any future development, and it's going to leave our zoning inconsistent with the development agreement. So at this point, if you didn't pass it, like I said, what exists is going to keep existing, and what they've been previously approved is going to happen. It's just going to create an inconsistency that if we want to change something, if we want to amend anything, is going to make that much more complicated.
So is there a way, I mean, because it sounds like we're pretty much tied, but is there a way that we can be able to tell council, like, can we send another notification to the homeowners letting them know, like, this, I know we sent you a letter, but this is not really what it means?
I mean, I think we could have staff send a message to council that you recommend sending out a subsequent notice.
Could it go through the HOA or like the POA?
And we would send out any notices in the same form that we sent out the other ones by mail.
Can you do it without like the legalese is you need it, but like is there a way to kind of have somebody go to one of their HOA meetings or something like that? It could talk about what it means, something like that.
Absolutely.
I think maybe that could be part of the motion if someone wants to.
I'm particularly interested in the multifamily directly behind the McDonald's and Shipley's Donuts. I recognize that that's already in the PUD, but currently doesn't exist. And I do agree with one of the people that spoke that it would create a burden on traffic at that point for that intensive use. And so in the recommendation, it would be mine to, as a resident of Shadow Glen also, that another use be found for that that's would not impact that location. Like it was already stated, the traffic there is bad to start with, and to put that much additional traffic would be a detriment. But other than that, that's my only issue.
So for clarification, so I'm hearing that, there are things that are already existing today that was not part of the PUD and that we're trying to match. But then there's also this multifamily homes that we're trying to, that's also part of that PUD that hasn't existed. Is that the only thing that doesn't exist today?
Honestly, I think the representative would probably be a better source of information about the details
Yes.
of the agreement.
So just clarification on what exists, what doesn't exist today. That's part of the PUD that we need to update.
Okay. So first of all, I wanted to say if you guys do not vote in support of this, you would have we would need a supermajority at council. That's what would happen. I wanted to clarify that. You would not recommend this to move forward positive, and that would happen. I just wanted to lay that out. And then we, as you know, the multifamily has not been developed, but there's also some commercial that hasn't. So these are the entitlements of the property, but they are allowed to do multifamily without coming to council for any rezoning. And then the commercial,
Can you grab the microphone? Sorry.
I know I always touch the screen and I end up messing up. So my understanding is that some of this commercial is not there yet either. And then there's the multifamily that is not there. We do have this developed over here, but that is in the ETJ. And trust me, this development, I had to overlay everything because I didn't understand either. So part of it is in the ETJ, which has been developed in phases. The open space is there, but these multifamilies have not been developed. The commercial hasn't either. And so this is like a 40+ year plan. Again, this map just matches what the DA says. The development agreements usually are just language. You've seen those. They're just language that describes what happens in the PUD. The PUD just didn't match this. And again, I just want to emphasize this is just because of the new legislation that we have to update things. Hopefully you don't have a big case like this one that has to be updated from so far back, but I understand the complexity and it's very confusing. So I appreciate that you guys were saying, let's tell the neighbors about it because I mean, I got confused. I had to overlay all these plans to see what was ETJ and what wasn't.
And I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if and when they wanted to move forward with either commercial or the multifamily, would that then be presented to council or to the residents, or how would that come forward, or would they just start building and going forward because it's here already?
Well, you guys have a purview over plats. I mean, you just saw it today in your agenda. So you will be able to see this. You just don't see the rezoning. Like there's no rezoning to happen. The entitlements and the intensity is there. But talking about traffic and streets and how it lays out, you will see a plan because you guys have the authority to. I've come here before. Commissioner Leonard has seen me several times with plats and with the site plan. So yeah, you will see some of it, just not the rezoning for if they want to move forward with that exactly.
And that you're aware of, are there any anticipated plans or anything at this point for that going forward with anything?
Not that I am aware of, but things may change. I wouldn't be able to say anything. There is also a traffic analysis that will be prepared in any case for any of these parcels, which you guys also see in your packet when the plat comes over with the site plan. And council also sees those as well.
Is it possible to remove the non-developed? Because obviously you've got developed stuff, it's already there. Then you've got non-developed stuff. Is it possible to remove the non-developed stuff from this amendment and deal with it later?
I think that would be a question for.
That's a legal question. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
And I don't know, before you step away.
Sure.
Let's get that.
And just for whoever can answer it, just let me see how to word it. Now that the legislation has passed, have you seen this type of an error? Is this common, or should we expect to see more of this type of thing coming forward? Like, do you represent, or can you speak to just the city of Manor, or have, for instance, you've seen this in Pflugerville or in Austin?
Oh, that's a great question. Actually, we have a couple cases in Austin where we have to do more of a neighborhood outreach than we used to. So that's why it's confusing too, because we notice people from the PUD and then people outside the PUD, but you can't notice the ETJ. But you guys do notice the ETJ, but some cities don't. And so we have seen that our neighborhood mailing notices, our practice, and you've seen that we send our own notices too after the city sends notices. And so we're doubling up in my staff to do that as well. So to answer your question, yes, it's happening in many other cities. I think you guys and your staff go a little more careful. You guys are more careful on how you notice. So I appreciate that. At the same time, it could be confusing to folks that in the past haven't seen those notices. And the language is very legally. So, I mean, I can be as a neighbor, I receive that and I have no idea what's happening. there is a phone number to call, but no, we have families and time, and it's just impossible to do that. So that's why we send notices as well, but it's complicated. So we are seeing that. Georgetown has the same thing. I have another case there. We're definitely seeing a over notice, but it's because of what happened. Hmm.
Thank you.
Just as a quick side note, site plans don't come to P&Z. I know you mentioned that they'll see site plans, but site plans are reviewed administratively and P&Z doesn't view them. Just saying.
Oh, I thought there was plats. Sorry, that was my bad.
Okay, what was the previous question?
Sure. Yeah, no worries. Um, the this amendment covers stuff that is developed and stuff that isn't yet, right? So
Correct.
the question was, can you take out the non-developed stuff from this amendment and deal with it later?
Okay, and I guess I'm supposed to identify myself again, Audrey Guthrie, for people for the recording. So with the planned unit development, it's really one very complicated mass of kind of mixed zoning, basically. So, I mean, technically, you could deny it and say, hey, we're denying this because we'd like to see it broken down more. And if it didn't already exist, then that would be a much more viable option. But so I guess the short answer is no. You can't just say, hey, we're going to take this down, because it would have to go back and then be resubmitted as a whole different PUD application, you know? And in this case, it exists, and so it would be very hard to break it down. Does that make sense? Okay. Is there any further questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 15, but I also like to state if we can get staff or city staff to maybe send another letter out explaining a little bit better, or maybe going to the HOAs meetings to explain this a little bit better, so that our neighbors and citizens can understand this the way we do.
I second.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 15 with a recommendation that the city staff makes a notice to the residents as well as the HOA of the explanation of this change by Commissioner Vice Chair Pies and second by Commissioner Leonard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 16, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a short form final plot for one lot on 0.23 acres more or less and being located at 707 Bastrop Street, Manor, Texas, with variances to allow for 40-foot lot with 20-foot front setbacks, 5-foot setbacks, and 10 feet rear setbacks, and a depth to widening ratio of 6.25 to 1.
I'd like to move that we deny item number 16.
Second.
It has been properly moved to deny the rezoning application for agenda item number 16 by Commissioner Meyer, second by Commissioner Hartman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
I just have a question.
I'm sorry, we're moving on to agenda item number 17.
Yeah, just that you deny both of my item. Is there any way I can like challenge or follow up, etc.?
So you can speak with Scott, but you still have the current zoning. So, right.
Go to council as
But
well,
It'll go
right?
to council.
I believe it will.
No, but without 16, I cannot be built. So you basically deny making it a non-buildable land.
So
Yeah, Michael, you want to tell me?
this will still go to council, and they do have the ability, even with P&Z's recommendation, to deny to approve it. But as for speaking on it right now, this is a conversation we'll have to have with Scott outside since they've already moved on to the next item. But
Right.
this still will go
I
to
just let you
council.
know, 16 literally you deny that you can build on this lot.
We're going to move on to agenda item number 17.
Okay.
Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a subdivision short form final plot for the Los Entradas North subdivision, 2 lots on 0.769 acres, more or less, and located at 13301 US Highway 290, Manor, Texas, and being filled with a variance from Manor Code of Ordinance, Chapter 10, Exhibit A, Article 3, Section 45, 6, and 7 relating to lot shape.
Is this item non-discretionary?
It's discretionary.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the plat in item 17.
I second it.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 17 by Commissioner Meyer and second by Vice Chair Pius. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item 18, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a subdivision short form final plot for the Manor ISD Senior High School, 3 lots on 69.316 acres, more or less, and being located at 14832 North FM 973, Manor, Texas.
Are there recusal rules where if someone is like, I know I've had to recuse myself on things before. Are there recusal rules around if your place of employment is in something that you're voting for that you have to recuse, or how does that work?
Audrey Guthrie. So the recusal rules are not based on your place of employment. They are based on what you have a personal financial interest in. So if it was your place of employment and you have a certain stake in it, then you can't participate in any way. If you are like on a board that can make certain decisions for that, and therefore you have a significant say in that company, if you're going to benefit from like significantly financially from the decision, it's kind of fact based. But if you're just an employee of an organization, then you're not necessarily conflicted out. Sorry, it's not necessarily a clear yes or no. That's why nothing in
That's
the law
helpful.
ever is.
But then there's also nepotism, right? Other recusal items or conflict of interest.
So there's a conflict of nepotism is a different thing. That's like hiring somebody, being a supervisor, hiring and firing. Conflicts of interest are the thing you're talking about, whether or not you can vote on something that you have an interest in. A lot of times it ties to your personal financial interest and your ability to control the organization. So like I said, if you were on the board, let's say, and you were an employee of Walmart, and Walmart was going to come into town, you could vote on it because you have no real say in anything Walmart. You're not going to actually get any benefit from the change. If you were going to get a huge benefit, personal benefit from the change, then you couldn't vote on it. Or if you were on the board or something, it's just not it's fact-based.
Can we make motions to ask for recusals just to, if obviously if it's not legally required, can we like submit a recommendation to recuse just for like to avoid any question of impropriety?
You can't condition your approval on a recusal, but you can always pass on a message as part of your either approval or denial.
I move that we approve agenda item number 18 and send a note just as a kind of a request for the council if they have any situations where there could be seen as a conflict of interest, even if it's not a legal one, that we err on the side of caution and recuse so that we don't have to, we can avoid any impropriety. It's just a note to send along, not like a condition, just a note that we would pass with the motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 18 by Commissioner Leonard, second by Commissioner Chavis, with a note that if there is any conflict of interest for those parties to be recused. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 19, consideration, discussion, and a possible action on a specific use permit for a medical clinic located at southwest corner of US Highway 290 and Greg Maynard Road, Maynard, Texas.
I am ready not to have to drive to Pflugerville when my kid does something weird in the middle of the night and I have to deal with that. So I just want to say thank you, whoever is doing this project. Really appreciate that.
I make a motion to approve agenda item number 20.
Second.
Number 19.
19, I'm sorry.
Second.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 19 by Vice Chair Pies and second by Commissioner Hartman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item 20, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a final plot for the Holly Smith Mustang Valley subdivision, 145 lots on 60.416 acres, more or less, and being located near the intersection of North FM 973 and Arnham Lane, Maynard, Texas.
To give some background, this will be the first phase of the Mustang Valley subdivision. It consists of 135 single-family lots, 6 open space lots, 1 parkland lot, and 3 easement lots. It's constructed into phases 1A and 1B, as there's only 1 access point currently, but phase 1A will only have 26 lots, and it's already been approved by ESD 12. As a side note, final plats are non-discretionary.
I move to approve agenda item number 20.
I have a quick question. Are these
There's a motion. You can ask a question after the motion. After we get a second, is there a second?
I second it.
It has been properly moved to approve agenda item number 20 by Commissioner Leonard and second by Vice Chair Pies. Questions?
Are these the duplexes right there at 973?
No, it's single-family homes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I think
I
there's
make
one more.
We removed agenda
Oh,
item
we did.
21.
Okay, cool.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
It has been properly moved to adjourn our P&Z meeting for the month of August at 8:49 p.m. by Commissioner Pies, second by Commissioner Chavis, and then also
Chavis.
Chavis. I apologize. Let the record reflect that we have 6 members present. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?